Hello, Yakri here with another Warframe video. This time we're going to be talking about Zephyr after her rework. Now, Zephyr is become kind of one of my favorite Warframes, or at least the Warframe I play very frequently. However, there are some issues I have with her after her rework, and I think like the biggest issue really is that she doesn't actually do anything, right? So let's talk about her abilities. We'll start with Tailwind, and Tailwind is the one ability that's really notable because she zooms through the air extremely quickly, right? And you can scale this up very high with duration. You can also charge it now to remain airborne for a extended period of time, and it's handy, right? It's one of the ways you can remain airborne for a long time. There's that mod that reduces damage you take while airborne, so you can make her kind of tanky with that. It's neat. It gives you a nice perspective to like rain down hell on enemies on the battlefield, which is really what I like it for. It's like the one ability I really appreciate. However, the rest of her kit is not that great. Air Burst is kind of, it's a knockback ability. I guess you could think of it like a reverse magpul, right? It's pretty long range. I mean, I guess I don't know if there is an actual like range limit on it. I think projectiles might despawn after like 500 or 600 meters, but it goes really far. And it'll knock back a bunch of enemies, or you can use it to charge up your tornadoes and make them larger. And it's neat. It doesn't really do anything. Base damage is really weak. It's kind of like lackluster for a 2 ability, and then you've got like yeah. Anyway, so let's move on to Turbulence. Turbulence is quite good, sort of, but there are apparently some inconsistency problems that have plagued it for a long time. I haven't noticed them getting to me too often, but once in a while I've died to long range fire while in Turbulence. So I'm pretty sure there's still an issue. Basically, sometimes hit scan weapons can still hit you if you move. You can like move into the way of deflected hit scan shots. It's kind of weird. But for the most part, it will protect you from projectiles, and so it is a very good damage reducing ability. I mean, if you're in the air, aside from one time I had a Grineer jetpack guy teleport on top of me and melee me while I was in the air on Plains of Eidolon, aside from that, you can pretty much not get hit at all and not take any damage, which is, you know, a pretty good type of DR, right? Not getting hit in the first place. So that one's pretty solid. I think it's very meh, right? Like, I don't get hit by projectiles. Doesn't do anything else, right? And it's its whole own ability, and so I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that, but it is good, right, from a power perspective. So that's 2. We got kind of something going on here. And we've got her ultimate, which just creates these tornadoes. They suck up enemies, and they status proc them, and you can shoot them while they're in the tornadoes, right? And you can also you can change the status proc of the tornadoes by shooting weapons into it. So if you shoot in like corrosive, it'll corrosive proc, which is probably one of the more useful things you can do with the tornadoes. Okay. And here's the thing. Her ultimate doesn't really do any damage, and the CC isn't that good. It's annoying and unreliable, right? Because if the enemies are flailing around in the tornadoes, they're harder to hit for you and for your allies, and you don't directly control the tornadoes, right? There isn't like a tornado control ability. I'm also really not a fan of her augments. I think the movement speed one's kind of fun. She's got 3 augments. Like one is like bonus movement speed and bonus projectile flight speed. This one for Tailwind, where if you like hit a bunch of enemies with Tailwind without actually dive bombing down, it increases the damage, but it's not enough to really like make it like great, in my opinion. Unless you like hit an absurd number of enemies, like really went nuts on it, because the base damage is pretty low. And then the tornado one like creates 8 smaller tornadoes. So like the thing is that creating 8 smaller tornadoes, or 8 additional smaller tornadoes, I think it's 12 total, they don't pick up enemies anymore, so you lose the CC and they still deal crap damage. So you're kind of like, I'm kind of like, I would love to see something that makes like one humongous tornado or something. I don't know, maybe that you can control in some way. That would be neat, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And so the end result is you have some mobility and some durability, and that's all you've got to your kit, really, right? Like Air Burst, I would say, is not very useful, and her tornadoes are pretty cool, but like that's all they really do, is they're pretty cool, right? Like you'd rather have like almost any other like decent AoE CC ability in the game instead of them, right? So let's get let's get some heavy gunners and check this out. I'm kind of hopefully I don't like just fuck this up and embarrassingly die, but I think I should be able to just not even no pause AI, no vulnerability. We'll just make use of that. Oh wait, what have I got here. Okay, there we go. Turbulence, there we go. And we'll charge up and into the air. And this is pretty much what's great about Zephyr. I can't actually show it off too well. Is this guy even shooting at me? Hold on, let's, oh wait, no, I'm not gonna be able to do this without dying, am I? Fuck. She's hard to control, and in the Simulacrum, there's really not room for this shit. So see what I'm saying? Like, Turbulence theoretically makes you immune to, hit scan weapons, but I've already taken some damage, right? But I have a lot of fun doing this. Like, this, I actually have been playing Zephyr quite a lot recently. She's just really fun to just kind of play Overwatch with, right? You don't fly up into the air, rain down hell on your enemies. You can't really do that on all tile sets, right? Like, so, like, on not the Plains of Eidolon, I'm not a huge fan of her. But on some defense maps, you can kind of still do this, some, like, outdoorsy maps. And it can be pretty fun, right? The thing is that she doesn't really have a whole lot else going for her, right? Like, let's look at the tornadoes, okay? Oh, I'm dead. See, it's supposed to not happen. There's just some weird bug with it. I wish it was at least, like, I don't know, reliable or something. But let's try this again. Tornadoes, come on. There we go. So, tornadoes, they lift enemies up. It's pretty handy, but they do intentionally lift up and kick out enemies, right? So they don't, like, suck in enemies and hold them in the tornado intentionally. The whole way they work is kind of, like, counterproductive compared to, like, really, at least compared to really good CC that's in the game, right? Like, it's not useless, certainly. I can't say it's useless. It's just that it's not significant. That's the word I'm looking for, I think. Like, what are some other Warframes that are a good example, like, by comparison? Like, Volt's new ultimate, right? That just, like, freezes guys for a long time. They can't fucking do anything at all. They don't move, right? They don't move, they take damage, and they can't do anything to you, right? Or, you know, like, shit, what's another really good one? The Frost's Freeze, huge AoE. Like, also, that's one of the other things. It's like Volt's ability is at least like reduced in AoE a little bit, but Frost's like Avalanche, right? Maybe you have to recast it pretty often, but huge AoE, huge. And the tornadoes, since they're not reliable, they can kind of group up, they can spread out, they can go where enemies aren't, right? You got tons of problems. Anyway. So that's the thing. Like, you can kind of like fly up in the air and you can make yourself immune to projectiles. That's kind of all you got going for you. You throw your tornadoes down because they're a little bit helpful, right? So at least if your teammates aren't like trying to aim with pinpoint accuracy, you know, it's kind of helpful. And so that's it. That's all there is. There's nothing else great about her. I mean, there's the speed, right? I like this I'm pretty huge fan of. Can't really do it in the Simulacrum because we're gonna white out here, right? But man, the speed's pretty great. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Her passive is actually like neat. Okay, like you slow fall normally. All right, a lot of frames have totally worthless passives like mag, so that's nice. But yeah, doesn't really do anything. Like, I want to see. I wish they'd give her like, gosh, I don't know, like some sort of like her dive bomb has like a natural scaling where like if you dive from higher up it gets better, right? Maybe in addition to the augment where it scales if you hit more enemies. So maybe give it a little bit higher base damage so she has one ability that's like kind of a nuke. Or if she isn't gonna get kind of a nuke, give her some ability that like enhances something or make her like ultimate a little more interesting, right? Like if you could direct the tornadoes around a bit. And if, say, they could have multiple procs, like what if they could hold 3 different elements, right? They can only hold 1 and they have a priority. So if you shoot them with corrosive, corrosive damage weapon, they're going to deal corrosive procs. And that's it. That's it. It's corrosive procs. They deal corrosive damage. Boom. Done. What about if you could have them either be charged up by allies shooting them? Or if you could have 3 elements, right? Like if they're like corrosive gas procking, that's a little more interesting. Or perhaps corrosive magnetic procking enemies, or corrosive radiation procking enemies, or radiation magnetic procking enemies. Really, just like more procs would make them more useful, give them more utility. Yeah, I don't know. And if they were a little more reliable, perhaps it wouldn't be so much of a problem. And that might be all the difference you really need. Airburst is a little bit meh, but does it really matter if it's meh? Well, I'm not enthused about it, certainly, but maybe it doesn't really matter, right? Maybe it doesn't really matter if it's meh. Yeah. I mean, you can charge your tornadoes with it, but it doesn't really seem to have a good purpose other than just goofing around with it and charging tornadoes. Okay, so I'm gonna cut to the Plains of Eidolon because this is it's kind of negativity, and all I've said is that her kit doesn't really do anything, right? Which is totally true for the most part. Like Like it's just you've got some DR and you can move around, and this is kind of whatever, and this is kind of whatever, right? And this is unreliable, and you can just glitch out on you, and you can just die instantly at high levels. It's not even, I'm not sure it's even as good as like Shatter Shield on Mesa, right? Because at least Shatter Shield works predictably, right? It's not just kind of random. But all right. So we're gonna cut to Plains of Eidolon. And I'm going to show you why I really like her. And there's actually, if you don't have Zephyr, I highly recommend you build her to do missions on PoE, aside from the fact that I've massively ramped up my mission failures due to the fact that being high in the air bugs out many of the missions, causing you to instantly fail them if you don't have allies on the ground with you. So be careful about that. But yeah, I'll just show that off to you, because I think she's not very good, but she's a ton of fun, right? So, I mean, does it really matter if she's terrible? I mean, it kind of does. I'd like to see balance changes, but... All right, here we are on the Plains of Eidolon, and I'm looking forward to showing you why Zephyr is a lot of fun. And it pretty much comes down to one thing, which is that she can fly, right? And she can fly a lot better than Archwings can fly on Plains of Eidolon. Archwings are kind of fucked up. We got a really low skybox. Like the skybox for them is like extra low. It's really shit. And for Zephyr, it's not. It's actually fantastic, right? Like, this is amazing. We can go even higher. Yeah. How high can we go? We're gonna get stuck at a certain point. I think this is about it. Yeah, this is as high as you can go, which is pretty fucking high. Let's see, let's cross the map. I mean, we can just be up here and zoom across the whole map, right? I'm actually probably making shit progress because I need to aim more straight. And man, I love taking Zephyr on missions, right? Like, fuck other abilities. Just use her one over and over again, and, you know, I'll use the Ogress, because when else am I gonna have a reason to actually use this piece of shit fucking self-killing gun, except when I'm hovering in the air where I can't hurt myself with it, right? And, you know, just fire a bunch of Ogress shots down on people and let my teammates cap the objectives. It's a lot of fun. You can use, it's actually a pretty easy way to, complete a lot of Plains of Eidolon objectives, because what's what I'm looking for here? You can see the enemies like dropping in and stuff, and you can just like pre-fire on them and just blow them all up as they spawn. It's great. A lot of fun. And if you just want to go and collect resources or something, she's one of the best options. Like, of course, Nova is very fast as well. Archwings are probably my go-to, because you can just kind of scan the ground really well with Loot Radar. But if you just want to get around the map, like, Zephyr is the number one. Not just for speed, but for, like, fun factor. I mean, come on, look at this shit. This is awesome. And then you can do this to get back to the objective, right? Boom. Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Really hard to kill. You can go up, the thing is, with a nice projectile weapon like the Ogress, you can go up insanely high, right, to where enemies can't even shoot you, right? The enemy can't handle shooting you. You got your tailwind on just in case or turbulence on just in case they do get in some shots, and you're basically invulnerable. It kind of clears up the buggy bullshit with that, and I mean, it's a little cheesy. Probably the enemy should actually at least bother shooting at you. IDE. But you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I kind of wish her other abilities like did something, so I had a reason to do anything except hover in the air and like fire like explosive weapons down on enemies. Yeah, pretty much. All right, well, I don't think I'll ever stop cringing trying to do this, but if you like my content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It does actually help me, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you hate my content, let me know why. Maybe I'll improve, or you could just flame me, because I love internet arguments. Probably an unhealthy amount. Shouldn't get into fights on the internet. It's pointless, but, you know, whatever. See y'all next time. Yakri out.